Well, today's been very miserable. Cold, dark, damp, wet, drizzly. Perfect weather to film another video. Also, I don't know if you can hear the rain going on outside. I do have to keep my bedroom windows open just to keep the room cool, otherwise I'll end up being a hot dog. And I actually just thought it sounds therapeutic, because I do actually like the sound of rain. I find it quite calming and just helps me relax. Anyway... So hey, it's Harry Husky, and I'm back with a different video again. So in this video I wanted to talk about what it's like from my experience working from home. It might sound like quite a good lifestyle, you know, not having to go out, not having to go to an office, not having to take public transport or drive about anywhere, but it's not all that great. Now, although yes, you do get to be your own boss and you get to work when you want and how you want, but there are some downsides to it that could affect your lifestyle and also your physical and your mental health. And I want to talk about some bad habits that are very easy to get into from working from home. I imagine a lot of people during this time are going to be doing it now because of with the pandemic going on, and they have been for quite a few months ever since the lockdown happened and the world went a bit crazy. So the first bad habit I want to mention is not having or sticking to a certain work schedule. Now let's say if you have like an office job, you have this situation where you clock in and you clock out, which does feel good. When you work from home, you might not necessarily have that to start off with if you don't have some kind of timetable, or you don't have your own working hours, or you don't really choose necessarily when you want to work. This also doesn't help if your passion is essentially your job, like for example if you make videos, if you are a, let's say in this band I'm a fursuit maker, if you run a business from home. What I would say is definitely get a timetable going. The reason I say this is because you may also get a lack of motivation to do your job. Also being the fact that you don't really know when to clock out for your job. Like for example, usually what I tend to do is like have a 9 to 5 thing going on, like Monday to Friday in my workshop for the 3D printing business and some of the services I offer. Because I am a freelance to freelance person, I am working from home a lot. So definitely get a timetable or a schedule going, because you want to sort of clock out and get that feeling of when you are in work and when you are out of work, and it will just feel good from time to time. Expanding on the timetable situation for this next bad habit that you're very likely to do while working from home, if you're going to start off working from home, is easily work overtime. Coming into this will be the situation where you're doing one job and you think, oh, maybe just put a few more minutes into this, and you don't really keep an eye on the time you're doing with this. So let's say you're doing one thing and then you spend, oh, I'm going to spend a few more minutes onto this, and then you look at the time and then you end up spending an extra half hour when really you should have or wanted to have clocked out at the time. This can also have an effect on timings for what you have to do, or like meals, dinners, whatever outside of work, but I will get to that later on. So finishing off that with, if you do have a certain time where you want to stop working during the day, definitely stick to it, and once your time reaches to that, then stop your work altogether and then carrying it on with the next working day you have, or tomorrow, or whenever is your next working day. So yeah. Now going to what I said earlier, one bad habit that is definitely easy to pick up from working from home is your timing on things outside of work. So this goes for like breakfast, lunch, dinner, meals, your social life, anything in between that, because you really don't want to be too focused on your job, and if you are, then what else are you going to have left during the day? Because you lose control of when you want lunch, when you want your dinner. This can vary different times of the week, and you really don't want to get sucked in. I speak from experience. So during your timetable of the day, definitely pick a slot when you want lunch, like for example 12 to 1 PM. Once you've clocked out, that's when you can think about when you want dinner, because when you're working overtime, you could be working way towards when you usually have dinner or when you want to have dinner, and you may get to that point where you might not even have time for dinner at all. I've definitely been there. Now the fourth thing I want to talk about that's very easy to get into is letting interruptions get the better of you. I say this because things like a phone call, a text message, a social media message, a social media post that you've been notified with, or maybe even a ring at the doorbell, this can suck away some motivation you have from your job, and you might not be as full attention onto it like you were when that disruption happened. Because when interruptions like that happen, especially for like a few minutes or so, you lose motivation to do what you were doing, you sometimes forget about what it was you were supposed to be doing, and you get maybe sucked into things along the way, like for example TV in the background, or whatever you tend to have, like the radio as well, other distractions that you have going on. It's very easy to get sucked into that and also suck out what you were supposed to be doing and your motivation for that particular job. Now the fifth and final one, I really want to talk about this, and you really don't want this to happen to you, is messing up your sleeping pattern. It is absolute hell. Because if you're working at an office job, you may think to yourself, oh, I wish I could be in bed all day. You really don't want to wish for that. It's just horrible to sleep in all day and then wake up at a stupid o'clock time later on during that day whenever you are in bed. Because the problem with this, if you are working certain hours, like you really don't want to work into midnight and you don't want to overwork way after midnight, because that way you got to look after your personal hygiene, your timing for your bath, your shower, cleaning your teeth. You really don't want to be doing that late at night, especially with people who you live with. It's not just timing that can cause a messed up sleep pattern, it's also because of the fact that when you're working from home, you're not really doing anything to wear your body out. Like, you're not walking, you're not running, you're not really on your feet all the time. The other thing I guess that can help from that is maybe during your lunch hour, whatever you choose to pick for it, is maybe go out for a jog, a run, or a walk, or if you have access to gym, if you own your own gym equipment like running machines or whatever, definitely use that. Just do whatever you can to wear the body out and tire the body, because you'll definitely want to get some sleep tonight after the job you've done. Because there are days where I usually think, oh yeah, I've been working, I've had a good run, and I definitely think I'm going to get some sleep tonight, and then 3 AM you're just lying in your bed checking your phone. To be honest, I really don't want to talk about the times I have ended up falling asleep, how long I've been awake for in the middle of the night, and what times I usually end up waking up during the day, because it also isn't good for your, not just your physical but also your mental health. But yeah, definitely do these things to try and wear yourself out during the day, get some exercise, do whatever you can, and try and get some decent sleep. But also, one thing I do think that helps me sleep is stuff like Nightal, sleeping tablets. The other thing that also helped me out with are some deep sleep hypnosis audios. So if you are working from home and you do struggle to sleep, definitely listen to stuff like that. There's a guy called Michael Sealey who does actually do a lot of deep sleep hypnosis that I listen to almost every night, and listen to that and boom, I would just fall asleep fast. I'll leave a link to his channel in the description if you are curious, but even if you do just struggle with sleep in general, I'll definitely recommend listening to something like that and listening to some of what he puts out there. And I will also link to one particular one that I listen to several nights that does easily help me fall asleep. Yeah, I'm going to leave it there for this video. It didn't quite come out how I wanted it to, because I just somehow couldn't quite get the words out. Like, I knew what to say, but in my mind they just didn't really sort of like come out right, like they did out of my mouth. And I might have said certain things a bit there poorly, or might not very well at all, but if I did at least help you at all in this situation, then definitely let me know, because I'm curious what you guys think of this. Okay, so I'm going to leave it there, so stay safe, stay well, and bye!